And welcome once again to Community Viewpoint. I'm John Pollock, host for this segment, and I have with me from our Fire Department Administration Department, we have Jennifer Fanning with us. You've been with us before. Hopefully it isn't just this one time of the year, but it's usually for good things, no fires or anything.
Correct.
It's for information purposes. And that's what we're here for today, information purposes, because this is, oh my God, it's October already. Where did the year go? October is, the October month is Fire Prevention Month, and during that month there's a Fire Prevention Week, which is coming up also. And Jennifer is going to be busy with the schools here, so tell us a little bit, unless you, oh, there's the sign up there. We'll get into it later why we have fire prevention. But what have you got planned for this month? Oh, this year is, what's the theme?
Smoke alarms make them work for you. So Fire Prevention Week actually starts next week. It runs for the entire week from a Sunday to Sunday. We open up the following week after it for the schools. Just the schools get a little bit busy. We can really only squeeze in one school a day for fire prevention.
Oh, yes.
So with all the elementary schools that we have here in town, we tend to open it up for 2 weeks. So this year will be really exciting. We have a brand new burn trailer that we are going to be taking to the schools with us. It was donated to Pahrump Fire from the city of Las Vegas. And it's pretty neat. They can, it has a living room environment inside, and they can actually fill it with non-toxic smoke.
Oh, okay, I got a picture of it, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
so that we can bring the kids in and kind of show kids how smoke banks and the way that smoke moves in a home. So it's going to be our first year trying that out with the kids this year, and we're going to take it with us to Fire Prevention Week.
And then you do this just with the elementary schools here?
Just elementary schools. It's usually pre-K all the way to 5th grade, so it's just the elementary that we don't go all the way into middle school or junior high.
You do the Christian Academy too?
We do the Christian
Okay.
Academy, yeah, and we even do the preschool at the Christian Academy. So we accommodate
all right.
the Christian school, their preschool breaks it up into 2 days and 4 days. So the Christian Academy typically gets 2 days that they have it, but they usually take that second week that we open up.
Okay. Anybody else get information from you during the time besides being here on Channel 25?
We've actually had a ton. I've had a lot of interest from homeschool groups that have
Okay.
been coming into the station because their children don't get to participate in Fire Prevention Week since they're homeschooled. We've had, like just last night, they were at Calvary Chapel doing some first aid and wound care for their children there. So there's definitely a lot of groups that reach out to us to get, fire prevention and things like that for their kids when they don't get to get it from school or additional to school.
Okay, great. And you don't do the middle school then?
No, typically the age of fire
That'd be-
setters, their middle school age kids are kind of past that point,
Yeah.
and our message really doesn't reach the older kids. It really reaches these younger
The younger
kids.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, once they get to that age, they don't really listen to us anymore.
It's not just you.
Yeah.
So why do we have Fire Prevention Month and Week? It's because of where I used to live in Chicago, the Great Chicago Fire, back in, I don't have it with me on this one, but it's over 150 years ago? Yes. Oh, 1871, October 8th. And that's the Great Chicago Fire. There was 2 days it happened. Approximately 300 people died, and what was worse than that was the property damage for the city. And I found out something else, that the same day that up in place called Prestego, Wisconsin, they had a fire the same day. I've never heard this before, but it was considered the deadliest wildfire in recorded history, with estimated deaths between 1,500 and 2,500 people, roughly 1.2 and 1.5 million acres of land burned, destroying 16 communities and 2 million trees, saplings, and animals. And that was my thought for the day. Sorry.
Wow.
I don't know why that doesn't get the press like Chicago does. But anyway, you did today. So we have a smoke alarm here. This is one that you would find in your RV, or works on 9 volts. It's not like you have at home. Did you want to tell us something about that?
So we want to make sure with the smoke alarms, the ones in your homes or in your RVs, those that you are replacing the batteries in those every 6 months. The NFPA says every time we change our clocks, we change our smoke alarm batteries. There's also a date on the back of the smoke alarm, so when you take them down, there should be a manufacture date on the back of it. Per the NFPA, smoke alarms are only good for 10 years. So if you have replaced your batteries and all your smoke alarms are still going off in your house, it's more than likely that the unit itself, you need to replace them all. In my home, mine didn't even make it 8 years before we had to replace all of them in our home.
Okay, we'll just use this as a prop because it has July 31st, 2002.
Yeah.
But I've replaced smoke alarms at home. One was increasingly pesky because it was close to the kitchen.
Yeah.
And anything that was made, I'm not that, or my wife isn't that bad of a cook. But that's one of the first ones that went in our house. And get all the nomenclature off the fire alarm,
Smoke alarm.
smoke alarm, I know what it is. But anyway, because there's like 100 different models out there.
Yeah, typically I recommend when people come into the station that you take one of the units with you to Home Depot or wherever you're going to buy a new one from. Most of the ones in our home are hardwired and there's a pin that goes inside it. Just to make sure that you get the same pin so that it matches, so that you aren't buying it and then you have to take it back, just to make sure that you're getting the right one. Most of them are wired the same, so any pin should work, but just to be sure, I would take it with you.
So you can go to Home Depot, you can go see Karen at the other hardware store in town.
Ace Hard, yeah.
I think...
Pahrump Rentals.
Pahrump Rentals, yeah. I think of it as Karen all the time. Walmart has some, I believe.
I believe Walmart does, and
you could do Amazon too.
Amazon.
But make sure you've got the right numbers on there too. So you're supposed to have alarms where?
They're supposed to be outside every bedroom in your home and on every floor.
And we have 2 floors in our house, and there's smoke alarms in every room there. Also, if you have a basement, there's a few people in town here that have basements. They should be in the basement as well. Check them monthly.
The smoke alarms?
Yeah.
I believe you should check them monthly, and then, like I said, replace the batteries every 6 months.
Yes.
And we want to make sure, too, that our kids are familiar with the sound of it. A lot of times these smoke alarms go off at, 2 o'clock in the morning in the middle of the night when we're all dead asleep. So making sure that your kids are familiar with the sound and that they know what to do in the event that the smoke alarm does go off. That one of the big things that we try to talk to the kids about at school is having a meeting place. So if we do have to evacuate the home, everybody meets outside at the mailbox or the tree by the street, or at mom's car, wherever they're going to meet at. But having a meeting place for everyone, and just making sure that they're familiar with all of that. So we do give them. Part of our fire prevention packet this year has a little grid where they can draw a diagram of their home so that they know the exit ways to get out and then where they're supposed to be meeting at.
Yeah, I've seen that before, yes. That's always handy to have something like that. And the kids, when you go through the elementary school, they have a tendency to shame their parents if they don't know what to do in case of a fire, which is good that with the young kids to do that. Second-story homes, it's kind of hard because you may not have a second exit on the second floor.
Correct, yeah.
So there are ladder kits that you can buy that unfold from the banister upstairs on the railing. So, or we have a roof that we can climb out on from the master bedroom.
Right.
So, make sure that you know prior to the fire, hopefully you don't have one, how to get out of the second story. And what else should we know about it?
We just want to make sure that we talk to the kids about not playing with matches, things like that. If they find matches, if they find lighters, giving them to a grown-up, their parent, a grandparent, somebody. Usually the getting more up there, the 3rd to the 5th graders are our typical fire setters. So we just want to make sure that we watch those kids and that, you know, we talk to them about that kind of stuff. Kitchen safety is another big one, making sure, you know, that they're not grabbing hot pots off of the stove or, you know, boiling liquids, things like that.
Oh, and also fire extinguishers, they should be placed around the house. We have one next to the microwave above the stove, and there's one in the garage, and there's one up in the hallway on the 2nd floor. So we have those available, and so that's also something to do to retard fires if they come out there. And what should you do for a fire if you don't have a fire extinguisher in the kitchen? You don't throw water on it.
No, don't throw water on it. Definitely call 911. I wouldn't be opening up doors or anything like that. You're just bringing oxygen into the fire. So 911, and I would evacuate everyone from the home.
So do many people have the ability to call you for fires? Or
I think so. I think pretty much everybody has their cell phones and things like that. So
do they remember to call you, though?
I mean, hopefully, you know, sometimes there's, you know, been a few incidents, you know, here of late that we've had the delayed response and people calling. So
They try to fight the fire themselves?
yeah, so calling 911 first, you know, at least get us moving and get us rolling, depending on which side of town people are on and what's going on, you know, it could delay the response. So as early as you can call and just, you know, and let us know, the better for you.
And there are 3 stations?
There are 4 stations. So we have the station out on Bell Vista and Barney.
Yes.
So we're trying to get that as staffed as possible to keep that station open 24/7. So right now it just depends on staffing for the day, if it's open or not. But we're working on it. So we're trying to keep it open all the time.
All right. So remember, we're just about out of time. Thank you, Jennifer, for stopping by. This year at Smoke Alarms, make them work for you. I have a camper that the smoke alarm didn't go off for any reason, and I realized I bought the camper 3 years ago, and it runs off of 9-volt batteries.
Oh my gosh.
So it wasn't working because it didn't have a battery that worked. Anyway, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next week.